you also wrote the majority of Back to Basics with Christina.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
How did that collaboration come about? Like when I see that you know, I notice with a lot of songwriters, they either write one or two songs on an album, or they write the majority of the album with the artist. So can you explain, like, I guess, like, how did you get linked up with Christina that you were going to, I guess, hole up with her for a couple of months and really go deep and collaborate on this project?
So, and there was an A&R guy, who was the president actually of the label at the time, Ron Fair, who had signed Christina, who linked us up. And I went to her house and she kind of interviewed me. She kind of played tracks, and then she was like, well, what would you do here? And what would you do there? And what would you do here? And that was like my vibe. Like if I heard a track, I could hear a melody in 2 seconds. Just music kind of moved me to hear melodies and sometimes at the same time a lyric. So she, kind of put me through this test, and then I didn't hear anything. And then she called and was like, hey, let's get together and write. And we just started writing, and we got along really, really well. We were both Sagittarians. So we're both pretty straight up, no bullshit. And I think she felt that she could be vulnerable around me. And she knew that, whatever was said in the room was always going to be sacred. Because I've always felt that way about my sessions, that they're kind of like therapy rooms, and we can both share whatever we're going through, and that needs to be held holy almost. We kind of understood each other. There was sort of an unwritten code of, whatever is going on in here is staying in here. And it just felt safe. I mean, we both had similar issues in some ways. And the fact that she could look at her life and I could understand it and relate to it was comforting. And it felt like, okay, this could be something. And also just, the fact that we could trade off melodies and lyrics. And, what I really loved about Christina too, is that she loved to do the things I didn't love to do. She really drilled down. Like she was very specific on going over lyrics and changing words and then saying like what we had left to do on the song, like almost very organized. And I was more of a like, blah, 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 this is, and, kind of all over the place. And she was hardcore. She was like, nope, we got to get that. This has to be done here. And we need to finish this, I was like, all right.
She's a real pro. She is a musician's musician, an artist.
Yeah, she was very organized and very pro.
We have to talk about Ain't No Other Man.
Oh yeah. So it's so funny because when I heard that track, I did not like it. It was like,
no, when you say the track, are you talking about like, was the bed of music, like the production already done?
That was done. And the part was go, do y'all thing, honey. Do y'all thing, honey. And it kept saying that, do y'all thing, honey. And it kept like, the loop kept saying that. It was really irritating to me. And I just couldn't get my head around it because it just felt like the do your thing, honey. It almost felt like a commercial or something. And she just was so insistent. She was like, we got to write this. This is my single, da, da, da. And I was like, how is it your single? There's nothing, we didn't even write anything over it. Almost to the point where I just got frustrated and was like, all right, I just come up with something. Like, I'll just throw something out there because I just couldn't think of anything. I just got to come up with something, just throw something out there because she really does think this is her single. And I thought, ain't no man who can stand next to you. And I don't know where it kind of came from. I think she was in this really happy place with her husband, or the guy she was marrying at that time, Jordy. And the do y'all thing, honey, ain't no man. Because I needed to do something that was in between the rhythms. And it just came out of nowhere. I think because I really had exhausted every option in my head of what could go over. Do y'all thing, honey, and it stuck. She was like, yeah, I love that. And then then we collaborated on the rest of it. Yeah, it became her song. And I remember DJ Premier produced it, and he used to smoke a lot of weed, and I was definitely not a big weed smoker. And so I got so high during that session, and she was kept saying, like, how was that? Was the vocal good? And I was like, girl, I don't know what's going on. I think it was good, but like, I can't. And I remember she was getting really pissed at me, but I was so high and I just couldn't communicate because I was like, yeah, it sounds really good, Christina, sure, come on out of the vocal booth, like whatever.
So funny. And then when you then see, so like Ain't No Other Man is a really good example, and also Walk Away, because those are two monster singles that come out where now like a video is, now there all these visuals get attached to the album.